AMP, and my name is Greg, and I work with our online partnerships group, which primarily is AdSense and Ad Manager and working with publishers. But I lead our mobile web product strategy and commercialization, which also falls under AMP. So speed matters, and mobile sites often don't perform. You often see slow loading mobile pages, non-responsive content, or the worst is when you load your page and then the ad loads and it shifts everything around. So I personally hate that. So users today demand and reward performance. Over 75% of pages take more than 10 seconds to load on a 3G connection. And in today's mobile-first world, that's just not cutting it. 53% of mobile site visitors will bounce after 3 seconds of load time. And pages that load in 5 seconds earn twice the amount of ad revenue as pages that take much longer. So maintaining a fast mobile website on your own often requires a large and specialized development team. So we need something that's fast, easy to implement, mobile-friendly, embraces the open web, and gives strong incentives to the publishers. So you might be familiar already, but the AMP project is an open source initiative to enable a better web, a more open web, that still is beautiful and monetizes well, and they're still your pages. So you can think of standard HTML kind of as bespoke, custom solutions. A lot of the websites I've seen are just a jarbled mess where things go forever. AMP tries to clean some of that up and build just components that are a little bit more like playing with Lego pieces. So AMP is about speed, user experience, and engagement. Distribution is an added benefit. Not everyone would get it. Sometimes it's a nice bonus. But at the end of the day, it's about the user experience. And they're still your web pages. We don't control the platform. Like, we're not sitting there trying to take over your page. You still make the page. It's your content. It's your ads. We help distribute it. And Google cares a lot about the open web. If we don't have publishers like yourself surfacing content, we don't have a platform. We don't have a Google search engine. We don't want to take we don't want your content. We want your content to be your content. We just want to help users get to the information that they're looking for. And so we want to improve the mobile web experience. And so AMP is an open source project that we got involved with and really initiated to help kickstart that effort. So AMP's core benefits: near instantaneous loading, smooth scrolling and engagement, styling and branding flexibility, increased opportunities for distribution with Bing, Google, Twitter partners, Pinterest is a partner. So websites using AMP have been seeing positive results when it comes to engagement and distribution. A Forrester research study found that users were spending 2 times more time on an AMP page, and they were increasing their pages per visit. There are several case studies up on the AMP project website. A lot of increase in user engagement, time spent on page, increases in click-through rates. So a big announcement that happened recently also, and part of this is the openness of the AMP project, is we're trying to relinquish, because it's definitely been seen, as we saw with the last presentation, they had originally titled it Google AMP, and there is a lot of perception that AMP is a Google thing. And while we have been heavy contributors and while we initiated and launched it, we're trying to kind of let the bird fly on its own a bit and open up the project more. So recently we announced that or the AMP project, I should say, announced that they are opening up the governance board. It's going to reach the point where no one person has a third control or more. And it's also trying to open up the governance model to include publishers and non-technical people as well, so it has some of their voices in how the project should evolve. In fact, 80% of contributors come from other companies outside of Google, including Twitter, Pinterest, Yahoo, eBay. So, and in conjunction with that, a recent announcement was Microsoft's Bing announced that they are now going to run an AMP cache, as well as like the news carousel, similar to how Google does it. And I think that kind of speaks to the goals of the project, which is to increase the amount of platforms and people that are participating without having one platform like Facebook or one closed walled garden that really controls everything. As far as discoverability, at least within Google, there's a few different places where you might run into an AMP page. I'm going to close this little thing down here real quick. Get him. He's fine. So you can see you'll find AMP pages across the usual places, like in your search results, in the top story news carousel. But in addition, you might also run into them on the Android newsfeed. So if you have an Android phone, you scroll over to the left, you might see some of the news content, or even the Google News app, for instance. There we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about AMP user experience and design. So as an example, Spiegel Daily built their site entirely 100% in AMP. They managed to create a really great mobile experience, in my opinion. But they also used it for their desktop site. So they kind of just built it once and had it work everywhere. The standard mode that a lot of people have been using is generally the paired version. But there's been a move to, as the functionality gets better, as people roll out more components, there has been a move to try to make it such that you can just design it in one way and not have to maintain two different versions. Ampstart.com is a nice place where you can go check out some AMP design templates. So there are several pre-made templates where you can literally just copy and paste some of the template code and get a good feel of what some designs you might be able to make with your site. These are just a few more examples of pre-made templates. And then I know a lot of people in the last session were WordPress publishers. There is an official AMP plugin that was being built by WordPress.com and Automatic. And Google had recently, in the past few months, partnered with them to help aid in the development of that plugin. It's currently on version 0.7. But in the next few weeks, the 1.0 version, which is currently in beta, should be rolling out. I think they're looking at the next month. It's kind of ever changing depending on when they feel comfortable with how stable it is. There will be a couple of issues out of the gate if you have some third-party. If you have a lot of third-party plugins, some of those third-party plugins might not support the AMP plugin right away. The goal is to get that third-party ecosystem of plugins built up around the AMP plugin as well. That'll take some time, to be frank, and I think they're really looking, for the first quarter to really be able to push this more broadly as built up with some of the main, most used plugins. But that'll be an ever-changing situation as more plugins build up their support. And with the 1.0 plugin version, you'll have 3 different modes. You can have just your standard page mode. You could have a paired version, which was similar to the last session where you showed, you have your AMP version and your non-AMP version. And then finally, you'll have a native mode where you can have 100% AMP just across the board, and you won't have to maintain a couple different versions. You eliminate a lot of the headaches that come with having the AMP at the end of your URL or keeping track of which one was which. It's just basically it's just your web page. So if you're a little more technical savvy, there's the ampbyexample.com, which shows some of the capabilities of some of the components. There's a whole suite of different types of things like audio and video components, and just lots of different things you could do with your web page. The ampproject.org is the official home of AMP. There are lots of step-by-step guides, documentation. Typically, it's probably a little more developer-focused, but you can read about case studies and other types of things on that site as well. When it comes to creating your AMP page, we recommend that you provide, similar to you do a normal page, provide navigational components and content recommendation to keep your users engaged. So you can make, if you're actually doing it the manual way without the WordPress, you can add your AMP sidebar, some social sharing. You can also do this in WordPress. AMP has some built-in support for paywall solutions. There are like AMP Access and AMP Subscriptions components. So those will play with some of the integrations that there might be on third-party paywall providers and so on. Last, I want to talk a little bit about, as far as UX goes, there's a new release with AMP Stories, which are an attempt to be similar to kind of how, if you're familiar with Snapchat, or just ways to more visually consume content in like a mobile-friendly way. And these support rich visuals, native video and images. They work across mobile and desktop. It's built with AMP HTML. And it enriches storytelling with animations and tactical interactions. They're a little probably complex to build at the moment, but they're working towards building more of like content like engine where you can make it a little simpler of a process, but that's a little ways out. And then I want to talk a little bit about advertising on AMP. In reality, it shouldn't be that different than your existing setups because it's just your web page. The AMPproject.org has dozens and hundreds of partners at this point. There's over 150 ad servers and networks that integrate, 40 analytic vendors, just multiple different types of integrations. Here are a few right here, but at any time you can see if your partner is provided if you just Google AMP project partners. AMP supports many ad formats, so your standard banner ads, some sticky ads, the flying carpet, some sponsored promoted content, and video ads, in addition to some others. This is kind of an ad manager bent, so I'll quickly blaze past this because I don't think a lot of you are on it. Is anyone on an ad manager? No? All right, I'll just skip this one. So typically speaking, you can optimize your AMP revenue on two components, the ad density of your page and the demand running through your page. So on ad density, AMP in and of itself does not limit the amount of ads you can have on your page. It's exactly the same as your non-AMP page. So however many ads you run on your standard page, you could do the same thing on your AMP page. You run into issues depending on who your ad network is. They're the type that might impose limitations. But in general, try to remember to think of the user and don't flood them with ads as well. But use high-impact formats. Multi-size, video, and responsive are very effective ad formats. As far as demand goes, there's no limitation on AMP. You can run any type of demand that you would run on a standard page, you can run on an AMP page. So in general, more demand is a higher yield. So you can run all kinds of demand, like your direct sold, your sponsorship, your price priority. There's a lot on this slide, I apologize. Just a quick few tips. Multi-size ad requests usually drive up auction pressure. You can use high-impact formats, like I said before, video, responsive, multi-size. Sticky ads and flying carpet are effective direct sold formats. Just ensure that all demand channels are running through your AMP pages. Maximize the pressure in the auction. In general, they've recommended to put the first ad below the first viewpoint, below the fold, just to provide a better user experience. And then also, in addition to amping a page, you can amp an ad creative. So I think you're going to hear more about this in the coming next year or two, but I believe this will be the aim to become a new standard for the way ads are, that way ad creatives are served. So as an example, here's an AMP HTML ad, and here's a standard ad. So TripleLift found that their AMP HTML ads were 3 times lighter, 6 times faster, and generated 13% more revenue. That's basically it. Thank you. Is there any questions?
My wife is the website person, and I'm just the content gatherer and other people. So I have 2 crazy questions. Almost our whole website is on the subscription under the subscription wall. Will it work in that instance, or
Which provider?
It's on WordPress.
There are integrations with subscriptions. I think it depends on which one you're using.
Okay. Thank you.
I know Facebook has instant articles. If your website is built on AMP, like when you load it in Facebook and say you share a link to your website on Facebook, it builds an AMP and it's as quick as it is on Google or as.
So you're saying if you amped your page, but then you served it from Facebook,
Yeah.
would
There's not a catch.
would it have been a Facebook instant article as well? It's just, it probably won't see as great of a benefit as if you're coming from Facebook and you were a Facebook instant article, you probably, given it's their platform and they're caching it, yeah, you probably would get a better experience there. I think the goal over time is, as this becomes more of an open standard, is maybe Facebook will make AMP cache, but you're right, I think at the moment you probably would have a better, quicker experience coming from Facebook if you're coming from instant article. And AMP isn't perfect for everybody. There's plenty of reasons why you might not choose to do so. And if your site is already fast, if you already are happy with the experience you have, if you're already happy, if you have a complex setup with a lot of custom JavaScript, AMP might not be for you. And nor do we as Google want to force you to do something. So we're just trying to help the user have a better experience.
My other question is about I didn't realize that you did AMP desktop. So what is that? Does Google have an AMP cache on desktop too, or how does that work? Just because it's a faster framework?
Yeah, so you can, it's just like a standard page.
Yeah.
Can you add AMP settings or whatever to just an article, or do you have to add it to your whole site?
You can do just one article. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can go test and see how you like one of the pages and see how it's working for you instead of committing your whole page to it.
So if I put like a 500 word article and then at the end I say for the rest of the article click here, would the AMP have a problem with that?
No. So say you have a page and you have 10 articles. You could have one of the 10 be an AMP page, and it could link out to your other 9 pages, no problem. Similarly, your 9 other pages could link to that AMP page, no problem.
That's beautiful. Okay, thank you.
Can you talk a little bit more about the AMP ads? Like, how is that something that we just code into our ad slots, or is that something, because we use it as a double-click, if there's a way to do it?
So, are you using WordPress or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We already use it.
You are using it?
Yeah.
Okay. I think at the moment you would need like a third-party type ad plugin on WordPress. As far as they're building the Google Toolkit, I think that's definitely more on the AdSense side. I think that they probably should look at incorporating Ad Manager as well, but that's not currently in the existing setup. So I think we have to go with a third-party option. Any other questions?
I'm sorry. So the cache on Google, is it just for articles, or can you on your homepage and AMP?
Yeah, you can have
cache
any
too?
page. Great. Thank you.